Hello, welcome to a 1v1 on Langrskaya. This is going to be MoaningMinnie versus Quicksilver. Quicksilver, also known as Strumming Bird, is a senior strategist on code2.org. I've cast a game of him before. And MoaningMinnie is a member of the clan RTN, also quite a good player, so it should be a good game. Soviets being played by MoaningMinnie in the south base. We see double conscripts double conscripts coming out of MoaningMinnie, and Quicksilver, if we take a look, is going with Volksgrenadier start, and we'll see what he brings in after that. Stern Pioneers making a quick push for the central victory point, while Volksgrenadiers are going to be doing some backcapping up here in the north, and conscripts as well as combat engineers taking territory on the left side of the map. And it looks like these Stern Pioneers are actually going past the victory point, trying to get up a quick steel barricade. Conscripts do spot it though just in time, and they will force them away. And he's going to leave that partially constructed. Actually, he's going to resume, so a little bit of cat and mouse being done here between these two squads. It is delaying the capping of this territory, but of course this is also not being captured. More steel barricade going up over here as well. Combat engineers finish capturing the munitions, and the Volksgrenadiers are going to continue working their way around down toward the fuel. This squad possibly going for the victory point. Stern Pioneers continuing to work on barricades up here in this area. And it looks like we are going to have some conscripts getting into this building, and they can see each other. Actually, MoaningMinnie cannot see him, so it looks like, oh, now he can as he's circling around through the bottom here. Heavy damage going out on the Stern Pios, and that pretty much is going to lose them that engagement, I think. Losing almost half the squad's health from that volley while they were caught building. Lots of damage going out. They are going to be caught in the road, though, and it looks like he's actually going to charge. And he'll definitely... What? He was definitely going to lose that Stern Pioneer squad. He did not need to retreat those conscripts. That was a bit of a mistake, I think, from MoaningMinnie there. But regardless, he has won that engagement for sure. And he's going to be taking the central victory point, while his other squads are capturing the remaining territory on the left side of the road. We also have Molotovs researched, so that should be helpful in the following engagements. 3 squads of conscripts on the field now, as well as 3 squads of grenadiers, so they're basically doing the exact same thing, spamming their cheapest mainline infantry unit. And conscripts are moving up the field, but they are outnumbered by Volksgrenadiers at this particular moment. 2 squads of conscripts up against 3 squads of Volks, as this squad of conscripts and this squad of engineers is not present at the time. But the use of Molotovs should help sway things in his favor. Half of that squad's health gone already. It looks like focus fire is going in on this left squad over here. This one's still unharmed. He's trying to position his Volksgrenadiers for like optimal damage given versus damage received. This squad now down to about half health. It looks like he's doing quite well, but this squad is now out of range of the fight. And this one is going to be forced to retreat very soon. But the Stern Pioneers are going to be making it back up to the fight, as well as this squad of conscripts arriving to support as well. And it looks like things could go to the Oberkommando player. He needs to be careful with that squad, though. Being forced to do a little repositioning to dodge Molotovs as well. He hasn't thrown any grenades of his own. No doctrine selection either, so no MG34s just yet. MG34s are a very popular choice on Langrskaya, since it's quite easy to lock down large sections of the map with just a small number of cheap machine guns. Stern Pioneers are doing good damage. They're up to 6 kills, so they can. Vet 1 can now plant the medical supply boxes. And we'll see if he chooses to do that. He does not have a battle group headquarters for healing, and I'm not sure what his next tech decision is going to be, so we'll see. We'll see how he handles healing his troops. We actually see the steel barricades are going to continue getting constructed while he has the upper hand here at the central victory point. Although this squad is taking heavy damage from this fresh squad of conscripts, probably going to be forced to retreat. Molotov goes out. Fortunately, he retreats through it unharmed. We'll be able to preserve that squad. We did see mines getting planted up here, and Quicksilver saw those mines getting planted as well, so he'll probably be getting a minesweeper to get that cleared if he chooses to make a push for that area of the map. That conscript squad gets a little overly aggressive, takes a lot of casualties crossing the road, and I think he may not have even been watching that, and he's forced to make a hasty retreat. Still no doctrine selection. And we actually see 5 squads of folks being produced. Fresh squad hitting the field over here. This fresh squad also making it up to the front lines in time for the next push. And as far as conscripts, on the other end of things, we have 4 squads. So both of them investing very heavily in mainline infantry. Cheap infantry. And I'm actually surprised not to see a doctrine selection here. Special Operations Doctrine at 3 points will give him access to infiltration tactic grenades. That might be what he's thinking of doing. No MG34 yet. He could be bringing in Panzer Fusiliers, but investing this heavily in Volksgrenadiers, I doubt that's what he's planning, so I don't know. We'll see what he does. MoaningMinnie, on the other hand, also no doctrine selection, but he does have 2 command points, and all 3 of these will give him access to some form of elite infantry if he chooses a doctrine. And we also see no healing yet, and that's really hurting him in these engagements. He is doing a good job staying at max range and overwhelming his opponent with superior numbers. MoaningMinnie is really spreading himself rather thin. Never really able to win an engagement because he can't seem to get superior numbers ever in these fights, because he keeps spreading out, grabbing territory, and harassing rather than fighting with all of his squads. And he's actually outnumbered because it looks like he's teched up, spent some manpower on a support weapon camp now to get out a machine gun. So he's going to try to use that Maxim to win engagements, and it should be effective against this blob of Volksgrenadiers, although it looks like he was a little slow to react to that situation. If he had been attack moving, for example, it would have instantly set up when they rounded the corner.
The sector has been cut off.
And he was forced to retreat, but it looks like Quicksilver is now getting way too aggressive with these wounded Volksgrenadiers. This would be an excellent opportunity for some medical supply boxes. He does have 170 munitions to blow on that, and I'm surprised that he hasn't healed his infantry up at all. There's absolutely no way he's going to be able to sustain this push over here on the left, especially with the Maxim machine gun, which he knows is on the field, already on its way back, so that may have been a slightly overly aggressive push, although he did cut off resources very briefly, denying him access to these munitions, at least for a small amount of time. His harassment up in the north, however, has been certainly very effective, and this screen of troops is going to prevent MoaningMinnie from taking any of that territory back for quite a while. Nice Molotov right there, almost wipes that squad, but it looks like they'll get away. Maxim repositioning to deal with these Volksgrenadiers. These Volksgrenadiers are not going to be unsuppressed because they're continuing to take conscript fire. It looks like this harassment over here was pushed away by those folks, and they will be able to retake that fuel point. And over here on the left, the harassment continues, grabbing the victory point. So lots of infantry running all over the map, doing harassment, counter-harassment, lots of engagements, and lots of map control being exchanged, but Quicksilver is definitely coming out on top of these engagements, doing a good job dodging Molotovs and just sort of overwhelming his opponent with superior numbers. Look at this, 6 squads now of Volksgrenadiers. MoaningMinnie sticking with only 4 going into his Maxim machine gun, and we do have shock rifle tactics chosen, so we will probably be seeing some shock troops as soon as he can muster up 390 manpower, which is going to be very soon, and that's going to be quite dangerous for his Volksgrenadiers to contend with, since they are pretty helpless to deal with shock troops unless they can overwhelm them with like I think about 3 squads or more is what it takes to focus fire a shock troop squad down. Maxim setting up over here, trying to make a coordinated push back for the central victory point, and we do see the steel barricades are complete, so these 2 routes are going to be blocked off to MoaningMinnie, and he will be forced to cross the road here, or circle all the way around the top here if he wants to push into the right side of the map, and that's going to really hinder his mobility. Maxim firing on these Volksgrenadiers, and if we actually take a look at the player list, I noticed that I guess you can't see it here because he hasn't chosen a commander yet, but he is using 3 of the Volksgrenadier reduced suppression bulletins, and I think that's paying off here. This squad of Volksgrenadiers not getting suppressed particularly easily. And it looks like we do have a flank going in. Nice grenade hit this conscript squad, and it almost gets wiped. Fortunately, Volksgrenadiers are not particularly good at hitting retreating units, and I think that they're going to escape. But we do have more grenades going out here. Grenade also went out here, it looks like, judging by the crater. So lots of munitions now being spent by Quicksilver on standard grenades, which actually leaves me very surprised that he hasn't chosen Special Operations Doctrine. He could be saving a lot of munitions on grenades if he were using the infiltration tactic grenades, but He still hasn't chosen anything. Usually if you're going to pick a doctrine, you have picked by now, and these are the 3 available to you. 4 of the features of this doctrine available with 4 or 5 command points. 3 of these features and 3 of these features. So... he may be holding out to see if he wants to bring in Fortifications Doctrine, because Fortifications Doctrine is quite good on this map, but I'm surprised that he wouldn't have picked it as soon as he hit 1 command point for the MG34s to battle this conscript spam, but instead went with this heavy Volksgrenadier spam strategy. Getting quite clumped. Here comes the Molotov. Inflicts 3 casualties pretty much right off the bat. Preemptive grenade thrown does almost no damage. Counter grenade right there also does basically nothing. And here's the magic number: 3 Volksgrenadier squads focusing down the shock troop squad, and it looks like it will work. Shock troops are not going to be able to overwhelm them. Their superior firepower. Volksgrenadiers are just too numerous. These Volksgrenadiers in this building doing what they can to fight off these conscripts over here. We also have a Maxim being rotated a little bit. Didn't really get to participate in the fight up here. Probably could have helped maintain the cutoff. And look at that reduced suppression bulletin. I think probably helped this squad not get suppressed. And we actually see that both of them have made it out of the arc of fire. Although this one's actually going back into the arc of fire. Still not suppressed though. And the grenade forces the retreat. And that squad will probably manage to get away. And they are also getting forced away by a squad of conscripts over here. I think it'll get away. Maybe not. Yeah, it gets away. Meanwhile, over here, it looks like a lot of casualties being inflicted on the squad in the house, who's forced to retreat by this flamethrower. But the Sturm Pioneers are back on the field, and they'll be very effective at chasing away that squad of conscripts. So lots of back and forth being done in these infantry battles. Still, even 12 minutes in the game, it's just conscripts versus Volks for the most part. Despite a little bit of interaction with shock troops and Maxims, it's pretty much the same dynamic. And MoaningMinnie is having a lot of difficulty penetrating into the right side of the map, and in fact isn't maintaining perfectly great control of the left side either, with this harassment constantly happening from these spare squads of Volksgrenadiers. Quicksilver has so much infantry that he can easily afford to send 1 squad over to the left and harass, while MoaningMinnie is trying to punch through on the right. And we actually see Schwerpanzer headquarters is up, and it looks rushed quickly onto the field. Always a good choice when you're up against shock troops, for sure. It's really quite effective against them since they have no anti-vehicle, but at the same time they're very resilient to damage, so it takes some time for their looks to vet up and really come into its own. And it's actually probably almost better to use the looks against conscripts when possible to vet it up fast. Obviously, if you need to use it to screen shock troops, then you should, but if you are in a situation like this where you get to pick your targets, then the conscripts are better for faster vet. Only 1 kill so far though, due to the variations in terrain and the long range. It's having some difficulty landing shots, which is why he's closing into close range here, screening away those shock troops, and they'll be forced away just about immediately. This squad of Volksgrenadier is taking heavy damage. He retreats it just in time though. Good move. And if we take a look at MoaningMinnie, I'm not sure if he has AT grenades yet. Yes, he does. He also has the field infirmary upgrade, so he will be able to screen that looks with his conscripts. Can't get too overly aggressive with it, as he doesn't want to take any engine damage. Nice damage going out from the looks there. Still only 2 kills, but the vet is going up. A lot of the vet comes from damage, not necessarily kills, so it's doing what it can. And as soon as it hits vet 2 is really when it starts coming into its own, especially against shock troops. And the higher vet you can get it, the more effective it's going to be against this massed infantry. So it's important to sort of babysit it a little bit, make sure it doesn't take too much damage, get that vet up, and get it to really start to shine. 4 kills now. Well on its way to vet 1. Very nice. Maxim firing on these Volksgrenadiers. Still no doctrine selection, by the way. 9 points in. That is almost access to all of the features of Special Ops Doctrine, and 4 of the features from Fortifications, and then still only 3 from Breakthrough. And pretty much all 3 of those doctrines would be a good choice on this map. I'm almost surprised, in fact, not to see Breakthrough Doctrine chosen a lot earlier for Fusiliers, since he obviously likes spamming infantry, and Fusiliers are basically just a better version of Volksgrenadiers when you get right down to it, with the exception, of course, being that they can't be upgraded with Panzerschrecks, but they're still a large squad size, very durable, good, just sort of infantry squad, and they're actually not that much more expensive than Volksgrenadiers either. I couldn't tell you their reinforced cost off the top of my head. but I would imagine it's very similar to Folk's Grenadiers, considering they have a slightly higher squad cost, but also a larger squad size, so reinforcements should be rather cheap for them. Assuming you don't lose too many squad members in an engagement. We do have a Maxim setting up, trying to fire on these Folk's Grenadiers. They are going to reposition behind these bushes, though. And it looks like we do have a damaged engine going out on the Panzer II from an AT grenade, and we have some harassment going across the top as well. MoaningMinnie spreading himself out, trying to retake territory on the left, while at the same time trying to make a bit of a push into the right side, but I doubt that it's going to succeed if you can only dedicate 3 units up against all of the combined forces of Quicksilver. But at the same time, Quicksilver is only dedicating a small amount of his forces to the defense here and then making a retreat with those units. He didn't move these Folk's Grenadiers up to help, and there's actually a Rocket Mortar here, and he still needs to get repairs on his look since he went with the battle group headquarters after all, and he won't have access to a mechanized regiment headquarters, so it's going to be imperative to keep that squad alive. Looks like 2 casualties inflicted from a shoe mine on that conscript squad. Also have a Molotov going into the house over here. Counter harassment from these Folk's Grenadiers does force back this squad of conscripts, but we do have shocks moving to respond, and if they can catch these Folk's Grenadier squads alone and dodge any grenades, they should be able to push that back. Grenade also going out here. Nice dodge of the counter Molotov, and it looks like those conscripts are going to be forced away. I'm not sure why he's getting back in the house with that wounded squad. He definitely risks losing it if he's not careful. Conscripts moving to force him out. Still no repairs on the looks. It's going to be important that he gets that done. It looks like he's not paying attention to this. He's too busy microwaving 1, 2, 3-ish fights, and that's actually the end of that Folk's Grenadier squad in that house. I don't know why he got them back in that house. He already had too much micro on his hands. I think he should have retreated that as soon as he saw that they were that wounded. Rocket Mortar also in a lot of danger. He should get that out of there.
Enemy movement! On the flank!
Looks like Quicksilver is actually making quite a few mistakes here, losing on all fronts. Conscripts successfully pushing up the right with Maxim support. Shocks are going to successfully push this away. These shocks pushed away everything over here. Conscripts retaking the victory point, so Quicksilver's going to have to regroup a little bit and try and retake his side of the map. Looks moving up to get some damage in on those shocks, and there's Vet 1 giving it access to cautious movement. Smoke grenade going out to allow him to finish capturing the point, but apparently it doesn't work. It's still able to fire. The Rocket Mortar does evacuate the house, and I'm not sure what he's doing with it. He's trying to get it, actually get it over to these Folk's Grenadiers over here. And the looks actually is also going to move up to support, doing nice damage to the flamethrower squad, but it will not be able to chase because there's a screening AT grenade going out right there. Engine is damaged. However, that's going to be about halfway to Vet 2 now with those 9 kills. Fuel getting retaken as well. Folk's Grenadiers in the house. Going to do a little damage. It's probably better to leave them out of the house here. Only 2 windows on the south side, although the windows on this east side are going to be able to fire down here as well. Molotov going in. That's going to inflict pretty heavy damage, and they're forced to retreat just about immediately. Looks continuing to fire on just about everything in this zone. We do have a grenade going out, but it misses completely. Shock troops pushing away those Sturm Pioneers. And we do have some healing and reinforcement going on over here. These Folk's Grenadiers not participating in the fight. These Folk's Grenadiers not participating in the fight. These circling around the bottom and harassing. It looks like a lot of Quicksilver's micro is going into this. Looks is having trouble mobilizing all of his forces optimally. Certainly difficult when there's this amount of infantry on the field, and we already have harassment going back over across the left side, so he's been very diligent about that for sure. Oh, nice Molotov right there, inflicts heavy damage. Only 1 casualty. If he retreats now, he could prevent too much bleed. Looks like he's not going to, though. Still sticking around, and we also, by the way, 12 command points now. I cannot believe he hasn't chosen a doctrine yet. Looks is Vet 2 though with 16 kills, very nice. It's going to be very important to make sure it stays alive. We actually have an Su-85 hitting the field of all things. Very surprising to see Tier 4 getting constructed when you also have Shock Rifle. I can't believe he didn't get a KV-8 or save for an IS-2 or something. He does have the command points for it, so that's actually quite surprising. shock troops pushing up here, and the Su-85 does catch the Looks. The Looks just barely got its engine repaired in time, so it needs to get out of there. It looks like he just popped cautious movement, but I think that might have been a mistake as it was hurting his movement speed. Oh, the shot just misses though, and we also have a Rakettenwerfer doing what it can. Wait, what is it doing? Well, that was some interesting Rakettenwerfer movement right there, and I think that SU is going to make it to safety as a result. Probably could have at least netted himself that one if he had got one more shot off, but at the same time, his Looks is alive and safe. But he's lost 2 Volksgrenadier squads now of his original 6, so he's kind of hurting in that regard, whereas MoaningMinnie, if you take a look, still has all of his starting squads, both shock squads, all 4 conscripts, and Pios and Maxim, and now an Su-85, so he's doing very well for unit preservation, despite not doing very well for map control. And we actually do finally see a doctrine selection. Looks like a Panther command tank is brought in, and it's a shame he didn't pick this doctrine earlier because he could have been using infiltration tactics pretty much this entire time, especially with that many Volksgrenadier squads. And now that he's actually lost 2 Volksgrenadier squads, he won't be able to take advantage of it as much as he could have before losing those. Who knows how much better he could have done in these engagements if he had access to that ability. It's a shame that he didn't choose earlier, but now that he has that Command Panther on the field, hopefully he'll be able to utilize it effectively against this Su-85, which is a pretty bad unit right now, which is why I'm so surprised to see it hitting the field. It has pretty poor mobility, it has no turret, it has no durability, and it's probably going to struggle a little bit against the Panther here. We do see coordinated fire going out, which is the improved accuracy ability of the Panther. You target an enemy tank with that, and that's what that target symbol above the Su-85 means, so it quickly backs out of there. Engine damage going out on the Command Panther, that's bad news, and it's going to leave both of these things rather vulnerable, and we don't have any Panzerschreck upgrades yet, despite a huge amount of munitions stockpiled, and that's rather surprising. Panzerschrecks would be an excellent purchase to help screen that SU. We do have the Rakettenwerfer moving oddly close, but we do have that one going out on as a result. Su-85 is fortunately firing on the Command Panther instead of on the Looks. So the Looks is able to stay and screen these infantry, but unfortunately the Rakettenwerfer burns to death from a Molotov, and it is not able to fire any further on the SU. Repairs are going to go out on the Command Panther. The support package upgrade will help the repairs, but until they hit Vet 3, they will not be able to maximize their repair speed. Molotov going out, nice dodge. It's important to keep dodging those throughout the course of the entire game, and we also have Oversoldaten hitting the field, so hopefully that will help supplement his loss of those 2 Volksgrenadier squads. Looks moving up. It's actually going to get in range of an AT gun right here, but quickly moves out of the line of fire. And we also have conscripts moving around the top, and it looks like they're not harassing the map, but are actually planning some sort of flanking attack to supplement the attack coming in from the front here. Looks continuing to screen though. It is almost Vet 3 with 23 kills, so he's made excellent use of that. We also have the Pintle machine gun upgrade going out on the Command Panther, so that should help supplement its anti-infantry damage. Oversoldaten taking up a position behind this haystack and already netting 4 kills and halfway to Vet 1, so those are going to be very dangerous. Oh no, we actually see an AT gun shot destroying the Looks in combination with an AT grenade from the flanking conscript squad, so that is the end of the Looks. That is a shame. There's also been some harassment of this fuel point over here, but it looks like these Volksgrenadiers pushed it back. Probably one of these conscript squads. Oversoldaten getting overwhelmed with the Command Panther doing what it can against these infantry. But eventually they are forced to retreat. Volksgrenadiers taking up a position in the house to give vision and possibly also do some light damage to this conscript squad, although they are Vet 3, so they'll be a little bit more resilient, I think.
The weapon team is back to full strength. Combat unit ready.
We actually have 2 Rakettenwerfers now hitting the field, so he's going to attempt to use those against the Su-85. He also knows that there's a real possibility of call-in tanks in the very near future, and I'm quite surprised that he has not got any Panzerschrecks yet. It would definitely help him vet up if he could get a few good shots in against the SU. Volksgrenadiers finally get forced out of the house. And we have a pretty big push coming in by MoaningMinnie here. Looks like an AT grenade is going to go off on the Command Panther. Does not penetrate. Stern Pioneers circling past the shock troops to try and get some damage in on the conscripts, but then they changed their mind apparently. AT gun also firing on the Panther. It's now up to Vet 2 because it's getting such good shots off. Some Volksgrenadiers is forced to retreat over here. Maxim going to be laying some suppression fire on those Volksgrenadiers, and they do get suppressed, giving these conscripts a decisive advantage. Su-85 also moving up to help screen that Panther. We do have some harassment happening over here, so that's a bit of a silver lining, but it looks like MoaningMinnie is successfully pushing the right side very hard. Oh, Quicksilver actually just killed that Volksgrenadier, and then the squad got wiped. That was unfortunate. Friendly fire right there. I don't think I've ever seen something like that happen. New squad of Obersoldaten hitting the field though, and the focus fire between those two squads of Obersoldaten could be dangerous for those two conscript squads if he doesn't get out of there soon. Stern Pioneer's taking heavy damage. He can't afford to lose that as it's his only source of repairs currently, and that full conscript squad did just go down to Obersoldaten fire. Meanwhile, we also have an engagement happening over here. Also, still no use of infiltration tactic grenades. Still just using regular grenades for whatever reason. Oh, nice hit there. He could wipe the squad. He is Vet 4. But it looks like it's going to get away. But that will help him continue to harass there on the left side. More harassment happening over here on the right. Looks like it was more shocks actually. And we actually have an SCG upgrade for whatever reason. I think that's a bit of a waste of munitions when he doesn't have any Panzerschrecks, and this is such a long-range combat map. He's going to struggle, I think, to use them as assault infantry, and I'm not sure what he was thinking there. If anything, it's going to force him to get into closer range against those enemy shock troops, when really staying at long range is more advantageous. So I don't know if I approve of that STG squad. In fact, I would be surprised if they outperform the LMG-34 squad. I would expect that the LMG squad is probably going to be more useful to him, but we'll see what happens. We do finally have a Panzerschreck upgrade. Definitely late in purchasing that, but it will help to push back the SU. And at medium range like this, the STG is actually better than the LMG-34, so that's something. Oh, Obersoldaten getting sniped by the SU though. That's always annoying when that happens. And he's actually going to be getting into the arc of fire of this Maxim a little bit over here. Probably going to be getting suppressed. Shock troops do catch those Volksgrenadiers and needs to retreat that just about immediately, and now that they're suppressed, they'll be forced to retreat as well. Command Panther, however, is repaired, has the engine repaired, and is making its way up to the battle. But I guess he reconsiders and backs off. Doing some capping with the Raketenwerfers, actually, it looks like. Yeah, and he is being forced to retreat quite a few squads, and he'll need to heal those up and get them back into the fight. Volksgrenadiers are vetting up quite well, although he's lost 3 of his original 6 squads, so that hurts for sure. But MoaningMinnie is down 1 squad. He's lost 1 squad of conscripts. Hopefully Quicksilver will be able to start eliminating more of those conscript squads, maybe with some lucky infiltration tactic grenades. Still can't believe that he hasn't used those. Stern Pioneers making ill-advised push into a Maxim. Not sure what he was thinking there either, but it looks like he does have a bit of a line set up back here, but it's all anti-tank. And until he can get his Obersoldaten fielded back onto the right side, he's going to be rather vulnerable. But unfortunately, it looks like he's dedicating a little bit much of his infantry to this defense over here on the left, although those conscripts are getting pushed back quite hard. MoaningMinnie is actually not pushing just yet. We see that he waited for his KV-8 to hit the field. What a strange decision. He clearly had the fuel for an IS-2, but he went with a KV-8 instead. There is a Command Panther on the field. I guess he just thought it would be good against these Obersoldaten. Interesting. And the Command Panther is actually going to burst through the hedge over here. And I'm not sure what he's doing. I guess he was just scouting for his infantry. Quickly turns around though, and heavy damage going out on that squad forces a retreat. Maxim is Vet 3 now, firing on the SDG Obersoldaten. Raketenwerfer being pushed back. forced to retreat by these shock troops. Oh, and a shoe mine actually gets hit by the KV-8 on its approach over here, so that's going to have to back off a little bit and heal up. Command Panthers actually looks like it might be trying to capitalize on that a little bit, or it's just going to do a little bit of light damage to that Maxim. Pretty good damage actually from the machine gun there, and then the Obersoldaten moving up, of course, should be able to finish it off. Yes, Maxim goes down, so that's another full squad down. Nice play there by Quicksilver. STG Obersoldaten are rather wounded, forced to get into close range against these shocks, doing nice damage though. He might actually be able to wipe that shock squad if he chases. Oh, could it go down? Yes, it does. There was just too much stuff and it gets wiped, and we actually have the Maxim getting stolen. So STG Obersoldaten definitely paid off in that instance. Although if we take a look at the kill count, it seems that the LMG Obers are still in the lead.
Enemy forces are capturing our supplies.
And considering they're performing almost identically, that pretty much proves that the LMG is better because you get it for free, whereas the STG is a 90 munition upgrade, which is absurdly expensive for something that's not really going to give you that much benefit on this particular map. Stolen Maxim firing with Obersoldaten support on some conscripts. We actually have, what is he doing with those? He should retreat those right away. Oh no, but the KV-8 is actually catching them and they're dead. Alright, well, so much for that. 400 manpower, 90 munition squad. That's yet another risk of giving them that upgrade, is that they become even more of a all your eggs in one basket situation. KV-8 continuing to push up and he's just not reacting at all. He needs to get out of there. We actually have a Stuka on the field of all things. Interesting. Coordinated fire going out. Not sure if he's going to chase. We actually do have a bit of an engagement happening over here. Some Volksgrenadiers decided to retreat immediately upon encountering some shock troops. Look at the damage from that coordinated fire. He may chase. One good shot here. Lots of shots bouncing on the frontal armor. Getting very lucky. That shot also bounced though. Stuka barrage coming in does not quite clear the AT gun, and he's going to go for a flank. He can in fact burst straight through the hedges here if he chooses to. Whereas none of these Soviet units have quite that advantage. And now he's popping Blitz to give himself that extra speed. Top mount machine gun clears the AT gun. And he's going to hit the rear armor of the KV-8 and take it out completely. And that cost him almost nothing to do. Just some nice maneuvering and poor positioning of these conscripts. He gets away with minimal damage, no engine damage. And now he'll be able to chase away those conscripts. So very nice play, although at the same time he was clearly not microing anything else in his army, except for that Stuka, I suppose. But he will be able to move his infantry up in the aftermath of that. Maxim being forced away. Not sure if it will get away. That Molotov could be disastrous. No, it looks like it should escape. And he does manage to recrew his AT gun. So now he's lost, I think, one conscript squad, one shock troop squad, and his Maxim, I believe. My count is correct, and his KV-8, of course. So that was a very, very painful engagement for him. Map control, it looks Quicksilver does have the advantage. And his Command Panther will be getting repaired, and it's well on its way to Vet 2. His infantry are also all upgraded with Panzer Shreks now. They're all Vet 5. Obersoldaten well on their way to hitting Vet 5. 22 kills. We actually have an incendiary strike coming in on these infantry right here. Hopefully he'll dodge. I'm not sure he's noticed this. It was a little off target though. I don't think he's noticed this at all. Now he's moving out of it. Fortunately, it didn't really do all that much damage. Big push coming in on the south here. Command Panther continuing to take shots. Not able to do all that much at maximum range, but the Obersoldaten are definitely doing a good job making up the difference. And the SU is now Vet 2, actually. And the AT gun also is getting fully healed and reinforced, but it needs repairs. It's quite dangerously close to getting destroyed, and one good Stuka barrage could be devastating. Command Panther's actually going to go in hard on the SU. There's also Panzer Shrek support over here, and I'm not sure it's going to survive this particular engagement. Vet 2 also going up on the Panther, giving it the armor boost. And that's the end of that Su-85. But at the same time, there's an IS-2 being called in just in the nick of time to force that Panther away before it can end the game. And he's going to have to get out of there at maximum speed. Lots of penetrating shots coming in from the IS-2, and the AT gonna like... Oh, geez, I think he's gonna lose that if one more good shot could do it. And here it comes. Oh, that's got it. Oh, the shot bounces. And will he continue to chase? Command Panther's probably going to get out of range now. So that was an incredibly lucky bounce. And the IS-2 knows it's gone and will be forced to retreat. But it looks like at the very least... Oh wow, infiltration technic grenades. I think that's the first time I've seen it used. Not very impressive effect though. And MoaningMinnie is now being forced to focus his entire army on the left side of the map. Super Barrage actually going out as well. And because he didn't get any repairs up on the AT gun, the weapon is destroyed entirely. Some quiet time though, as MoaningMinnie recaptures territory and Quicksilver repairs and reinforces. More Obersoldaten hitting the field, as well as a fresh Raketenwerfer. Now that the AT gun's been destroyed and the Maxim was stolen a while ago, and he actually lost another full squad of conscripts. I'm not sure when that happened. Probably happened during this engagement over here. He's really hurting for forces, and the IS-2 is pretty much his only saving grace at this time, and it's going to be imperative that he utilizes that as effectively as possible. Shock troops getting overwhelmed by superior numbers. Grenade accomplishes just about nothing, and he's forced to make a quick retreat. Simply too much overwhelming firepower here. And it's going to be important not to send his units in one at a time like that. He's going to need to catch some of Quicksilver's squads on their own. Unfortunately, Vet 5 Volksgrenadiers are incredibly durable, and his IS-2 may struggle to get any good squad wipes here. At least not until it's vetted up as well. Maxim being neglected a little bit. That's freshly hitting the field. He may lose it already. Yep, there it goes. Vet 4 on those Obersoldaten makes them extremely deadly. IS-2 does manage to land one good shot, but we already have coordinated fire going off on the Command Panther. Shot on the Panther misses, but he will be pushed back by these conscripts. He doesn't want to suffer any engine damage. Already he's being forced to get repairs though on that IS-2. Didn't really get to utilize it at all. There's just way too much firepower on Quicksilver's end of things. The difference in army size at this point is quite drastic. Stuka Barrage going out. Doing some nice damage to those shock troops, forcing them to make a quick retreat. And it looks like plenty of harassment is going in on the right side over there. So MoaningMinnie certainly is not going to be able to take any territory when he's so busy microwaving everything over here on the left side of things. He also is continually taking casualties and manpower bleeds, so he's having difficulty bolstering his own forces, while at the same time keeping his current army healthy and alive. Actually destroying the Maxim with the Command Panther here. Interesting. Stern Pioneers may get pushed back by conscripts. Molotov going out. They're actually holding their own quite well now that they're Vet 3, and there's lots of yellow cover in the form of craters all over the map, so the road is becoming less and less dangerous to cross. Repairs continuing on the IS-2. Quicksilver playing quite safely at this point, just making small pushes. He's not being too impatient. He knows that the game is pretty much his as long as he doesn't make any crucial mistakes here. concentrated fire once again being used on the IS-2, which is going to force it away just about immediately. Panzer Shrek shots going in. Smoke is actually blocking that Shrek squad, I believe. But he's not watching his shocks, and they die. I don't think Quicksilver was watching his Volksgrenadiers either. So he kind of risks losing that squad. Going in hard with the Command Panther, though. Backing away from the AT grenade, does not penetrate. Popping blitz to get to safety. Still, oh, there it goes, finally.
Enemy movement! On the flank! Incoming fire! Grenadiers ready! Target secured! Get cover! Standing by! Ready!
Maximum suppressing shocks. Conscripts moving up. Command Panther staying at a pretty healthy distance, and once again the IS-2 has to be repaired very slowly. Time continues ticking away. Obersoldaten actually could be taking this point over here. At vet 5 they actually get sprint, so they become an even better lone capping squad than they already are. Stuka Barrage coming in here. Oh, and that's the end of the game. I guess that was pretty much going to end things. Had that connected, and it's really no surprise that Quicksilver was going to win this. Pretty much since the point that that KV-8 died, I would say. I think a lot of build decisions were a little questionable from MoaningMinnie over here. First of all, going for Mechanized Armor Camp and I didn't pay off at all. The Su-85 performed quite poorly against that Command Panther, although it did manage to take out a Lux with AT gun support. The KV-8 was also somewhat questionable. I think going straight into IS-2 at the time would have been more beneficial. I'm surprised he didn't bring in a KV-8 at the point when he hit 9 command points, but I guess since he had invested so much fuel in Tier 4 that that really was not going to be an option for him. And he didn't get a Katyusha, which is one of the main benefits of Tier 4. Like, if you're going to build it, you may as well. So, all in all, I'm somewhat surprised in that regard. Very much deviating from the meta, especially when going shock rifles, but he gambled and lost, I guess, is like my assessment of that. As for Quicksilver, I cannot believe he didn't pick a Doctrine earlier. That would be my biggest complaint. He could have been throwing so many more infiltration grenades, and I don't know why he didn't purchase Panzer Shreks way earlier than he did. Considering he was Volk spamming, he built 6 squads of Volks but didn't get infiltration tactic grenades, and he didn't get Panzer Shreks, so just kind of overall pretty strange decisions from both sides of this battle, although it was definitely an enjoyable game to watch. I hope you liked it. If you did, be sure to send me a message with the link to a replay of yours. I'd be happy to cast it. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.